Hi everyone and welcome back to the podcast. It's episode 18 and I'm here and Ian is thankfully here. I was a bit worried I was going to have to do a solo episode because he wasn't feeling very well yesterday, but he appears to have risen from his deathbed.
Yep.
Yay! And is smiling, so that's good. Right, so today's episode is about technology, so Lego and technology, and Ian wants to title this episode Why Vidiyo Failed, but I feel like that's quite a negative title.
But fairly accurate.
Well, I bought all the video stuff.
Yeah, because it was on sale for ridiculous
50%
amounts.
off. Okay, why did Vidiyo fail, Ian?
Okay, so now a lot of people will have different opinions on why Vidiyo failed. For me, I think the key thing is that it was an absolutely atrocious idea from the point of view as a parent. Particularly the first wave. So the idea that you got these characters, you essentially took a photo of them and then sat and played on your phone.
Yeah.
Was always a terrible idea. So just at that concept level. Now, so, from the very beginning, I said what they needed to do was create sets where you were doing proper augmented reality. You were moving around the sets like you're filming a concert. And that's what they've done in the second wave.
Yeah, the sets were too late, clearly.
Yes. So I don't know if there were problems with delays, and so the first wave went out with half of what it should, and it should have had sets in it, or whether they thought that randomly the first wave would be good enough, and then the second wave they'd get the sets involved. I don't know, but so just the concept that the first wave ended up being should never have been released.
It was not interactive enough.
No,
it was just phone.
Yeah.
And that's not something that you really want to promote to your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, wasn't a very good app.
So, well, then we get into so the concept was bad.
Yeah.
And the reason it's bad is because you're trying to get kids almost away from technology, or you're trying to get them to use technology in a more interactive way.
Yeah, because the Lego Foundation apparently did a research paper into technology and kids, and they found that there are benefits for kids to use technology.
Yeah,
so,
there are.
I think
young kids build up much better hand-eye coordination if they play simple games on phones and stuff like that. So there are definitely benefits for it. But the thing parents like about Lego is it means that kids aren't just sat staring at a screen.
Yeah.
And Lego should have used that as its building block.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't. So then we've got down to the actual implementation of it. And I don't know where the faults lie with this, but the app was rubbish. It didn't work a lot, and it required a really modern phone. Now, this is aimed at pre-teens. So you're aiming it at, say, a 10-year-old. Is a 10-year-old going to have a phone that costs £1,000?
You'd be surprised.
Yeah. There are some out there, but a lot of them are dealing with...
the second-hand phones from their parents. They'll get an upgrade when their parents get an upgrade, and it's never the latest technology. It shouldn't be the latest technology. They don't need it.
Yeah.
Apart from when Lego bring out things like this.
Yes. But so that just means that you're in this situation of clearly someone's told the developers to go off and develop an app, and the developers have gone, well, we need it to run on this hardware, and some high-level architect hasn't gone, hang on, that's wrong.
Yeah.
We need to come up with a solution that will work on an older phone.
But you've got to have it work on the newer phones as well.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a breadth of all the things it supports. And then that makes it a lot harder for them to develop because the older phones aren't as supported.
Not really.
I mean, Google's just turned off a whole load of Google services for the older apps as well.
Yeah.
Older phones. So...
But that's much older phones.
Yeah, it is much older.
And yes, I know that augmented reality libraries on the newer phones are easier to use and have more power to them and stuff. But augmented reality apps have existed on older phones. You could do them. There were lots of games. I mean, Pokemon Go ran on old phones, and that was augmented reality to some extent.
Yeah.
So, there's definitely the technology there. Would it have been harder to develop? Maybe. It would have changed their design, as I say. They might have had to cut down on some of the abilities to get it to work. But I think that's what would have been the better solution.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, as I say, it's not necessarily that the developers made a rubbish app. I mean, they did. It didn't work. It crashed. It was awful.
I didn't even try and use it because, one, it didn't sound like it's worth using. The only experience I had of it was at that pop-up on Play Day. And even the Lego employees were not particularly enamoured with it.
But yeah, so you've got that the app was rubbish, but clearly someone in the design stage just didn't work it out. And I think that's what we see quite a lot with their technology.
That they don't spot the potential problems.
Yeah.
That one person maybe goes off to do something and doesn't talk to anyone else, and then suddenly it's like, look, this is the thing we've got.
Possibly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so if you take a look at their motors, so, this is something I spent a lot of time looking at, was how to interact with their motors from a custom app. And it's a nightmare, because you can't do it with the firmware that's on there. So you have to use a side boot program to get different firmware installed on it that you can then interact with from a program. But how is that meant to foster creativity? That's what Lego is about. It's about reusing the bricks. Why is it not reusing the motors?
I guess they just haven't thought that someone's going to do that. Writing a custom app, yes, that is quite creative, but that's not...
But they know people have been doing that ever since the start these motors came out. You know, it's not like it's new for the control stuff. Powered Up was exactly the same. You know, people would write apps. They still had the problem that you had to download the code in weird ways. The Mindstorm stuff, that was slightly different.
Is Powered Up not the latest thing?
I don't know.
You say control stuff.
Sorry, Control is the app that does it, isn't it?
Right. Okay.
So, yes, Power Functions.
Power Functions, okay.
I can't remember what the control system for Power Functions was.
Right.
But, yeah. So, it's not like this is a new thing that someone gone, I want to write an app for a remote control car.
Yeah.
They've had that existing, and there's communities out there that support it and stuff. But, as I say, you're having to jump through hoops that you shouldn't have to. You know, I've used the Circuit Cube motors.
Purely because...
That comes with an app, but it's really easy to interact with through any kind of program that you want to write. As long as you've got a Bluetooth driver installed, you can do it.
So is there any good reason why they wouldn't do it? Is it just that they don't have the know-how? Or is it that they're trying to make it harder for their own personal gain?
I don't know. But it means that people are scared of going to the technology because they don't want to be reliant on an app that may not get supported.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going with something that very easily anyone can write an app for, you know, even if you don't want to do it yourself, you know that there's going to be a whole bunch out there you can get. And you don't have to reflash the firmware just so that you can do it and then change it back if you ever want to go back to Lego's own apps. So it just seems like a real design mess.
Do you think because you're so techie, though, that you see problems that other people wouldn't even consider?
Well, I've seen a lot of people who aren't techie say that they won't use it because they don't want to be reliant on a Lego app.
Right.
So I'm techie enough to know if I needed to, I could go off and write my own using the stuff that's out there.
So they're actually doing themselves a disservice because they are losing that less skilled audience.
Yeah.
Who they should be catering for.
Yeah.
They do seem to drop support of a lot of the technologies just willy-nilly kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like Dimensions just disappeared, didn't it? And didn't it disappear in a sort of way like, oh yeah, you spent all that money on that game, but now it won't even work?
Yeah, I never really got into Dimensions, so I've not followed it all that much, but yeah, I know that there was definitely some odd stuff. Didn't they have to bring out something that allowed you to load stuff that you'd already bought?
Yeah, I don't think I know enough about the Dimensions. I never really understood it. And in fact, that one was the number of times I see minifigures that were part of Dimensions I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't very well advertised that you could get those minifigures and not care about the game kind of thing. I guess it was probably a price point, wasn't it? It's too expensive.
I'd guess so.
What else has Lego done that has been rubbish? Hidden Side?
So I've not ever played with Hidden Side, but from what I've seen of it, it seemed like an okay system.
The app itself?
Yeah.
But
and that was
still got canned.
Yeah.
That's kind of my point.
Yes. So that was more of the augmented reality where you are actually using it to look around the set and stuff. So
yeah,
it was
and you have to
definitely
find ghosts and
involving you with the set still.
So the premise was way less bad than the video stuff.
Yeah.
But the reception's still not great?
Yeah.
Or was that just a massive failure in them to market the sets correctly?
I mean, Hidden Side was...
Hidden.
A mess, yeah. You didn't know what you were buying. Yeah.
They hid all the pictures on the side. That's what it was called, Hidden Side.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, really. What else do you think that Lego do badly? Because I'm getting from the way you're talking that you're not pretty happy with Lego and technology, and especially the fact that I know that you applied for a job to work there and essentially told them, I want to work here because you're rubbish and I want to fix you. And you didn't get a response.
That's okay. Yeah. I've looked at it. They couldn't afford me. So, well, that's one thing. So they are based in London.
Yeah.
And from what I can find out about the salaries that they're offering developers, they don't look like London salaries.
Right. So that's
why
they're not getting good skills.
So, yeah, I don't know whether they're just, hiring a lot of, graduates who are excited about working for Lego and then leave to go work somewhere better afterwards, and so therefore you've got a high turnover. Young people could explain some of the problems they're having.
I mean, their website themselves always crashes.
Yes.
Every time there's a release.
Yep.
It always crashes.
Yep. So if we get down to the website again, there was some really bad design stuff that's gone into there. The bricks and pieces is an absolutely atrocious interface. So whether it's that you have to keep loading more because you want more than 6 pieces at a time on there, or,
Why would you want more than 6 pieces?
I know. You're looking at, you need a replacement piece from a set. What are the chances it's not in those first 6 pieces that it shows you? You're having... If you accidentally hit back or refresh, you lose all of your cart.
That is frustrating. But is that because they're trying to make it hard for you to do that? Or is it just that they don't have the time to prioritise this stuff?
I don't know.
They clearly have a lot of problems. They must know about them because people moan about them all the time.
So I know that they are hiring a lot of people.
But not paying them very well.
Well, I don't know. I don't think the adverts at the moment give a salary on them.
Right.
But yeah, it didn't seem... Maybe, I don't know what those people are being hired to do. Whether they're being hired to fix video when it comes back. Whether they're trying to fix the website. I mean, as we said, the website crashes a lot. It can't cope with an influx of people on a release day.
Yeah. But I guess that's maybe they just underestimate how many people are going to go each time. But you'd think they would have some sort of data. Every business should be using their previous data to work out a strategy.
Yeah.
And it's as if they don't. They go, oh, maybe next time it will be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we can't be sure what they're doing behind the scenes. They could be really trying and
just failing.
Yeah, well, is that worse? Is it better not to try? No, it's not. It's not better not to try. But maybe that's what's happening. It's weird, isn't it?
I mean, I've heard reports that since Lego have taken over the IT for Bricklink, that Bricklink has had more technical problems than ever before. I've not witnessed that myself, apart from the Bricklink Invitational, which again just didn't cope with the amount of people trying to use it.
Maybe they are running computers made out of Lego bricks.
Maybe that's the problem.
Maybe they can't...
Because if they get too hot, the Lego will start to melt,
and
that would be catastrophic.
Yeah, maybe they're running your garbage collection algorithm.
Maybe.
Using their little Mindstorms robot.
But if you look at the Bricklink Invitational, again, as I say, so many people went onto it that it crashed. But the design of that, again, was awful.
Also, it let people buy more than they were meant to.
Yes. No one knew how to buy the sets until it went live. You had people who were searching on Bricklink to try and find out, and it had no information. You had the people who were essentially selling the sets, the designers, had no clue how
That's
you did it.
That's a comms problem, though, as opposed to a technology problem.
But it's all linked together. They're not designing the systems well.
No.
And they're not implementing them well.
Yes. Do we want Lego to prioritise making lots of awesome new sets? Or do we want them to prioritise getting a stable website and a digital offering that makes sense for children?
So, with the amount of money they have made due to the pandemic, I think they should definitely be investing more on the user experience from the website. You know, you just can't get away with some of the dodgy stuff that they do. Like, their whole system, it's just rubbish. Like things like us being able to buy sets and not getting any kind of notification that we've placed an order.
Yeah, that was January 1st, wasn't it?
Yeah, again, their systems were overloaded, a whole heap of stuff didn't work. We ended up, it wasn't just January 1st, was it? Because I think it was maybe January
4th. It was at the start of the year where there was already a bit of an issue because of Brexit and pandemic. And then we ended up buying 2 orders and getting both because they couldn't even see it on the back end.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it just appeared. So that's the thing. It's not just our technology; it's their technology sounds rubbish too. I did read a news article from earlier this year saying that they're only at the start of their digital transformation journey, and that they're expecting like in the next 10 years to really be pushing forward with it. So I don't know if that is proof that they are looking at it and they're...
But you can't say they're at the start of the...
Well, that they've identified that shopping is no longer as big in the stores. It needs to be more online, and therefore they're going to have a heavier traffic.
But Lego has always been fairly online. I mean, they have no stores in Ireland.
Yeah.
So in Ireland it is an online thing.
Yeah, so maybe they've just realised that they really need to push harder to make the online presence better for everywhere, though.
Yeah.
They've now got, even the places where they used to get all the in-person sales, they've all moved online. So now it's time to do something about it. Before they were like, oh, it was just Ireland.
Maybe.
We'll just let them be.
So yeah, so in terms of what they should be doing in terms of like either fixing video or a theme for kids, I don't think that looking at augmented reality is a bad thing. I think it's something that Lego could do well if they had the right people involved in it, if they actually thought it through. You know, I think then they could do something really good with it. But it requires that level of thought that has been absent in video. It requires them to come up with the correct use cases, to develop the correct personas that they're designing everything around. They need to go, well, the average kid has this phone, therefore we want it to work on this phone. Not some kids will have this really expensive phone, therefore it's okay for us to target that.
I guess so that if you've got the expensive phone, then you've got the money to buy the video sets, so they go hand in hand. We don't want those cheap kids. It's pretty bad.
Video sets were pretty cheap at the end.
Yes, but that's not where they marketed them. No
one's entirely sure what they did. So
I think we've agreed that no one inside is entirely sure.
You know, when I watched a review from Jang about the stunt stuff, he specifically said that he thinks that has been priced to be discounted.
Well, why did they do that?
Because people like to think that they're getting a bargain by having saved 20% or whatever.
But people also like getting value for money.
Yeah. But maybe, you know, video was always meant to be on offer to try and entice people in.
But there were so many places where it was never on offer. And that
it was
screws
really
them over, isn't it? It's definitely not worth the price, even with the app. Because, I mean, I look at it I want to pay for it from a minifigure point of view.
Yeah.
But if I was enjoying the app as well, it's still not worth it. And I'm not enjoying the app.
I mean, I guess the other thing that they did really badly, technology-wise, was Lego Con. Again, that wasn't just they had technology problems. That seemed to be that they had a complete failing to understand what their target audience was.
Yes, so that's not technology.
No, but then they had technology failings on top of it again. Do
we have to cut them some slack because it's a new world and everyone's still trying to get used to it? No. Because it's not a new world. It's not. This is the thing. I hear so much about the pandemic, like, oh, now it's a new world. But I guess it's the scale. Like, we've worked in the computing industry for like 14, 15 years. Yeah. And we've always had the ability to dial into things and have online meetings. But until the pandemic, it wasn't the same scale. Not everyone was online all of the time. And therefore, there is an element of having to plan for that. It wouldn't just click your fingers and everything would work.
No.
And if I was just going to suddenly do an online event for every Lego fan in the world, I should probably have planned that capacity a lot better. Yeah.
And it's not like they did that at the start of the pandemic.
No.
Yeah, there were many online events with more people in that other companies had done that Lego could have learnt from.
Yeah.
There were companies specialising it that Lego could have hired.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going, oh, it was a new thing, just doesn't cut it. Meant to be a premium toy.
Yeah.
Therefore, they're meant to invest in these kind of things and get it right.
I think we decided they were no longer really a premium toy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, right. So Lego and technology, kind of an oxymoron.
Yes.
Hopefully it'll improve. We're still going to buy Lego regardless, it would seem, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you have any thoughts on Lego's use of technology, let us know in the comments.
I thought you were meant to be playing devil's advocate and telling me that their technology was great.
I just couldn't bring myself to do it. This is the thing. The feedback was that I always agree with Ian, or Ian always agrees with me. We agree too much. But at one, we're married. We're meant to kind of be on the same wavelength. Otherwise, it's not going to make for a great marriage. Two, if we do disagree, we have to live with ourselves for the next week without being cross at each other. So that's not great either. And three, Lego technology sucks. So it's hard to not agree on that because couldn't work out a way to play a devil's advocate. I tried to cut them some slack, but, it just didn't work.
No.
Yeah, so if you can think of a good point about Lego technology, let us know in the comments below if you're on YouTube, or drop us a DM over at Instagram or wherever. If it's working. And we'll get back to you. Also, don't forget to subscribe wherever you are, and we will catch you next week. Bye.